So today is International Men's Day, and I thought this would be the appropriate time to speak about depression and depression within males. My personal story behind it, and why it, in a way, has actually led me to try and become a content creator. I do want to preface this by saying, though, that depression does show itself differently for different people. But there are some common signs. So if you do see someone in your life, a loved one, that has had drastic mood changes or drastic changes in behavior, changes in their personal hygiene, the way they, maintain themselves, and also drastic changes in their appearance, like maybe shaving all their hair off or coloring their hair or getting a number of piercings or tattoos. Again, if this is already in the person's personality, then that's not something to worry about. This is obviously something that's out of the ordinary, that would be different from the way they normally act. And secondly, even though I am currently in a very dark place, I may not look it, but I am currently in a very dark and low place. I never have, nor do I think I will ever consider harming myself in any way, just because I have other anxieties and issues that kind of trump my depression, in terms of fears of actually hurting myself. So just for anyone watching this that may end up being worried for my safety from the things that I say, I just want to let you know that has never and probably will never happen. Before I get into talking about mental health in a general way, I just want to give you a little bit of backstory from my side. I've been battling with depression for many years, even though I didn't know it. But about a year and a half ago, it got so severe that I could barely get out of bed in the morning, whether it was to make something to eat, to even get up to shower, brush my teeth, do pretty much anything. This affected my personal life, and it also affected my work, where I would miss 2 to 3 days a week, almost to the point of me getting fired. So I decided to take upon myself to check myself into a mental health facility for a month, and I kind of went through a little program there that not only taught me a lot about myself, but helped me understand what I was feeling, why I was feeling this way, where it kind of all came from, and what I could do to manage it. So once I'd left that, I went back to my job and realized that my dream of always becoming a filmmaker and being creative and creating things was being stunted by where I was working, the office job I was working, and it was actually contributing to my depression. So I did make a drastic decision of resigning from my job and making that leap of deciding to follow my dreams. Unfortunately, I decided to wait a little bit too long after resigning. I took a bit of a break to figure out what I actually wanted to do, which in hindsight I probably should have done before leaving the job. But I kind of took a little bit too long doing that. And once I had figured out, or kind of put in a plan of what I wanted to do, or a path that I wanted to follow to achieve my goals, we were hit with the COVID pandemic, and everywhere went into lockdown, including us here in South Africa went into a full lockdown. And that derailed everything I had been planning and banking on. So that once again, maybe not immediately, but threw me back into a very deep slump in my depression. And at the time then, I was obviously unemployed, by that time broke, and just in a really dark place, and not seeing an end to it because the plans I'd put in place for my future were no longer stable. So that's where content creation came in. I have always been a gamer, and I saw an opportunity to try and make something of myself with that. And being a creative and wanting to entertain people, I decided to start streaming and decided to also start trying to make YouTube content. However, when you are starting out in something like this, it is never easy. And especially trying to start something like this when you have nothing else to fall back on is a very scary thing. And I will already come straight out the bat and say I had very unrealistic expectations of how quickly, or I should say slowly, things would progress. And unfortunately, with you throw in the depression, you throw in the fact that I was unemployed and that we were going through a global pandemic and basically an entire global recession, creating content actually became very difficult for me. It became very difficult to maintain a streaming schedule, to even upload one video a week. And I know a lot of people out there are going to probably think by watching this, if anyone even watches this, that, you know, I still have it good. Like, I still have a roof over my head. I still go to bed without, you know, with a full stomach. I don't go to bed hungry. That I should be grateful for what I have. And believe me, I am. I'm grateful, and I appreciate the people around me that have actually kept me going. However, if you have someone in your life that you care about and who's going through a battle like this, never, ever tell them that they should appreciate what they have, or that they should have a look at and see that other people have less than them. Because not only are you invalidating what they're telling you and what they're opening up to you, but you're also fueling that depression and that self-loathing that basically we're not thinking of other people, we're only thinking of ourselves. So you're actually making the situation worse. Without you knowing it, with you trying to help, you're actually making the situation worse. So if you do have someone in your life that is battling with these things, those are some of the things you should never say to them. If you really care about them and you care about their well-being, just be there for them and listen to them. And don't try and fix everything. Anyway, so that led me down to where I am now and trying to make it as a content creator. I wouldn't even call myself a small content creator. I would call myself a micro content creator. Because the fact is, I have been doing this now, albeit inconsistently, for a couple of months, and I've seen no results. And the logical part of my brain knows that that's okay. That's how things progress. That's just how this industry is. That's just how content creation is. But unfortunately, I do have that little voice in the back of my head that tells me that it's because I'm not good enough and because I am not doing something right. And I just want to say that I know, maybe not in this particular sense, but I know there are many men out there who feel that way, who feel that they are not enough, that they are not worth other people's time, that they don't have a reason to go on, to exist, to be, because there are still days where I wake up feeling that I don't have a reason to do anything. I don't have a reason to get up, to eat, to do anything, because what is the point? So most of my days are actually spent just surviving the day. I don't get through the day to make plans, to have a goal in mind to achieve, because right now all I can focus on is survival. And I know that there are a lot of people, and in this sense I'm addressing a lot of men out there who are going through exactly the same thing in their lives in some way or another. And again, because it is International Men's Day, and also in terms of depression and the suicide rate globally, the male suicide rate is far higher than the female suicide rate. And that is not saying that men have worse problems than women. That is a societal thing of how we're conditioned. Both men and women are conditioned to see men as stronger emotionally, as more secure, as the breadwinners, as the providers. And unfortunately, this is not something we can get rid of very easily. And it forces a lot of men to feel like they can't open up, they can't talk about what's going on. And so that is also another reason I started creating content, is to make it through the day. I love playing video games. I love trying to think of new content to create and creating content. It's very difficult in some days to actually get through that, but that's the whole reason I actually stream and create content. Is the baseline is that I do it to keep going. Yes, it'd be great to make a living off it, some kind of income right now. Like I said, especially during these times when I'm unemployed and basically surviving off the kindness of others. But the gist of it is I stream and try and create YouTube videos to firstly entertain, hopefully entertain, and also just to make it through the day. So I just wanted to say today that if you're a woman watching this, and you do know men and women, but especially men, that exhibit these symptoms, make yourself available in some way to them, to let them know that you care and that they aren't alone. And to the men out there watching, to let them know that you aren't alone. It may feel like that every single day, and I know it feels like that every single day, that you are alone, that you do not have meaning, do not have a purpose, and you would rather not be around. But I'm just here to tell you that just because you think that, it doesn't make it true. Our emotions can very often lie to us. Emotions are not fact. So even though you feel that, and even though it can be dark and lonely and scary, and you kind of just don't want to be around anymore, just know that there are people out there, people around you who actually do care. You may not know it, and you may not feel it, but they are. And to anybody taking the time to watch this, just know that even though you don't know me and I don't know you, that if you ever need somebody to talk to listen to you, or to just be there in some way, whether you're in the same city or across the planet, reach out to somebody and reach out to me. I don't care who you are. If you're someone who is in need of help, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to just feel alone and not think that reaching out, or to having anyone to reach out to. So if you are going through this right now, I will include a couple of links below to some international sites where you can reach out to anonymously. If you feel that you have people, that there may be people in your life that you can reach out to do that. And if you're not comfortable with either of those, reach out to me anonymously. Tell me your story. I'll promise you I'll listen. And I will try and be there as best I can. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching this. I hope all of you have a pleasant day further. Hope all of you stay safe in these times. And always try and remember that even though it doesn't feel like it, you're not alone.